Sorsby. Questions for Brendan?
What did you see from Nebraska's secondary? Obviously, you bring in the new receivers, you're going to be stretching the field. Didn't happen much until the end. What did you see from the cornerbacks?
They did a good job of, keeping everything in front of them. And then, I think early on in the first half, especially, we didn't do a good enough job of, extending drives. We had too many 3-and-outs. I think we had 2 or 3 3-and-outs in the first half, and that just can't happen. You can't get into any rhythm that way. You're not going to produce anything offensively that way. So, I think in the second half, when we started getting to our tempo and all that stuff, we started to see more success. We got to find a way early on next week to get into that, and we'll go from there. But we got to get in the film room and correct some stuff for sure.
It's a tough night for the receivers, but on that last drive, some confidence maybe going out, you get losing, but there was some plays made. You feel better going into week 2.
Yeah, I didn't lose any confidence in the receivers after tonight. I made some bad throws, I made some bad reads, so there's definitely still opportunities there, but we got to figure it out, really quick, especially before we get to conference play. We gotta lock in on these next 2 games, these next 2 non-conference games, and then find our way into the conference play and be at our best, because at the end of the day, this is obviously a tough loss, and we wanted to win it, but it really doesn't have anything to do with us getting to Dallas. So our goal is still Dallas. Our goal is still go 1-0 each week. Didn't happen this week, but we can bounce back next week with a win.
Could you walk us through that final play? It looked like Caleb had about a step and a half there. Was the safety farther off than what anticipated there on that play, or?
They just did a really good job of disguising it. I didn't really see that it was cover 2, especially the way the corner played it. I thought he just kind of jumped it. I thought Goody had a step, kind of just put it up there. Safety made a really good play on it. It's tough, obviously. You like to, wish that he didn't make a one-handed play, but he did. And it was a really good play by him. So, you just got to tip your cap, move on. Obviously a tough opponent in Nebraska, but we got to find a way to pull those close ones out going forward this year.
What are your conversations like with the offensive line? I think they had a few false starts on 3rd downs that kind of see you guys off.
Obviously our first time having to deal with any noise. I think they did a really good job, handling the silent cadence, and obviously they did a really good job of protecting me. Didn't get hit in the backfield at all, so props to those guys. We just got to figure out a way to avoid those pre-snap penalties, especially in some crucial situations, and we will. We'll get it cleaned up. Obviously, a really tough environment out there tonight, but we'll be good going forward.
Pass game didn't get going like you wanted to, but with your feet, you extended a lot of drives, extended a lot of plays. That's something that you were kind of like, hey, my pass game isn't going, but I'm going to do something to try to put the team on back.
Really just, like I said, we had too many 3-and-outs in the first half. And it got down to it, we can't afford to have those really at all throughout the game, but especially now in the second half, when the defense is getting stops, and we got to find a way to extend drives. So whether that's me making a throw or me extending a play with my legs or handing the ball up, whatever, maybe we got to find a way to keep extending drives. And I found a little bit of success around the ball, but we just got to find a way to get the pass game going these next couple of weeks. Continue to use my legs. Obviously, it's tough to defend the pass game and the quarterback run, especially whenever you got an extra hat and the running back blocking for the quarterback. So, we just got to go forward and attack each day with a different mindset of we got to get this offense rolling like we know it can be.
Down 13-3 at halftime. What were those conversations like there coming out in the second half, specifically to get you going there in the run game? Was that something you wanted to do, or you saw that the defense was kind of allowing you guys to open that thing up?
We really didn't even have that conversation. The conversation was more so that, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We had a couple missed assignments. We had a couple, obviously the turnover down and giving them the ball in the red zone. That's tough, especially on our defense. Whenever they played a great first half, pretty much, handing them 7 points. So, that's something we're also going to get cleaned up on the offense. Is just, that's an unfortunate play, obviously. He's turning upfield and put a helmet right on the ball. It's tough, but we got to find a way. And I know he's going to beat himself up about that, but we got to find a way to just keep these drives going, especially, when we start getting that tempo going, we're tough to stop. So we got to find a way to avoid those mistakes and avoid shooting ourselves in the foot so we can really start to extend drives and start to put pressure on the other team.
Does the defense's performance today give you more confidence about what you guys can accomplish the rest of the season?
100%. And, obviously we've seen it all fall camp that our defense is really talented. We trust those guys, and, I trust our offense still. We didn't have a great day through the air. We didn't have a great day by any means anywhere. We still made too many mistakes, but it's game 1. It's a non-conference game. We care, but it isn't the end-all be-all. It's, we got a lot of ball left ahead of us. We got our full conference play ahead of us. So, we just got to find a way to get better next week, bounce back, and find a win at home.
With guys that got a lot of publicity, but obviously they read that.
You know, they just did a good job all around. I mean, whenever you have 69 yards passing, you're either clearly not doing something right or they're doing something, you know, really well. And I think it was a combination of both. So props to those guys, and you know, we got to figure it out.
Thanks, Brendan.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Brendan.